Hello, beautiful people. Let's talk about Chiron. Get right to it because we're going to go house by house. This is going to be maybe a longer video, okay? So, next week, July 15th, the asteroid known as Chiron is going to enter its retrograde phase. So it's going to go retrograde in the sign of Aries. This means that it's an optical illusion that it seems like it's moving backward, but on a psychological, emotional, and energetic level, it's going to bring us within. Okay, so let's get into first what is Chiron, just in case you are not very familiar with this asteroid. In astrology, we have planets and we have the sun and the moon and points like the ascendant and the midheaven, but we also have, as of maybe 200-300 years ago, astrologers have been studying asteroids when they were discovered, and we started seeing information coming in about asteroids having certain symbology, and they were named, and then they became the rulers of certain things in certain aspects of our lives. Okay, so there are hundreds of asteroids. If you know astrology, you know this. If you know, this is a little more of an advanced aspect of astrology. And of those, about 80 or so are studied by astrologers. And of those, there are about 8 that are the main ones. And of those, Chiron is usually the most important and the most popular one. When you get your chart from a website, in your chart, you'll probably see this symbol. Okay, and that is Chiron. It's a big K with a circle at the bottom. This is usually included in a chart. If you want to include the rest of the asteroids, you usually have to add them, pick, select, and add them manually. But this one is so important, and it's such a big deal that it already comes in the chart, okay? It's one of the few, and in some charts that I've seen, in some programs that I've seen, this is the only one that it gets included along with the planets. So it's that much of a big deal. All right, so we're going to talk about it because it's that much of a big deal. We'll talk about its meaning. We'll talk about the sign it's in right now and what that means. And we're going to talk about how its retrograde transit through each of the houses is going to feel or manifest for you in particular. Okay, so first of all, Chiron gets its name, like most things in astrology, from a mythological figure. Chiron was the centaur that dedicated most of his life, or really was into medicine and healing and herbology and all these things. So it's a really helpful symbol for the time, because we're in a time of transition. We've gone through a ton as a planet, a pandemic, quarantine, etc. A lot of shifting and changing, a lot of wounds that need to heal, and this is exactly what Chiron does. Okay, Chiron was a centaur whose friend unintentionally hurt him. There's an arrow that pierced, and he was in pain, he was suffering, and he was an immortal, and so he had to continue to suffer forever until he gave up his immortality. All this stuff is very, very symbolic, and it teaches you a lot about the healing process. Okay, so what happens with Chiron in astrology? Well, it represents the primordial wound we come with, your natal Chiron, whatever that may be. You have Chiron in Aries like I do, and people from my generation do, or you have it in Taurus or whatever, and in the different houses, this is going to tell you that wound that you come with, that you're going to have to deal with all of your life. And then what do? You find a medicine, okay? Because we all come here for something, and that something is to evolve. So that's the process of you identifying what that wound is, and astrology helps you with this through your Chiron. You then identify what the medicine is. You begin to heal that wound. You begin to, it's going to leave a scar. Yeah, it's going to be there probably. You're going to remember it, and there's going to be memories triggered and things like that, but it won't drive you anymore. Okay, so that's the healing process. And then what happens once you have that information and that wisdom and that experience, you then are able to bring that information, those tools, that medicine to others. And that's what we're here for, right? We're not just here to do me, we're here to do me so that I can help you. So this is what Chiron allows you to do, especially in the sign that it is right now. Now, Chiron is not a very steady asteroid. It goes into a sign and it stays there maybe for a couple of years, maybe goes to another sign, stays there more years, goes into another sign, stays there less years. And so its route is a little bit erratic, but it is usually makes a return on your chart. So it comes back to the same point, meaning it went through the entire zodiac and comes back to the point at the time that you were born, whatever position that was, whatever sign that was, whatever sign and house that was, excuse me, in about 50 years. So around 50, think about it. When you're 50 years old, hopefully you have gained that point, not of maturity, but of a spiritual, deeper sense of maturity. It's not like, oh, I'm an adult now, I can be responsible for myself and think for myself and take care of myself and maybe not die, right? That's your Saturn return point. What am I doing here? You know, am I at the right career? That kind of stuff or whatever. All right. Chiron return around 50. It's those people that been there, done that, made a few changes and shifts, had the falls, had the mistakes, learned from them, and now are here to maybe give a word of advice, maybe give you some counsel. Okay, that is the stage. That's what Chiron allows you to get to. And it's a wonderful, wonderful thing if you have paid attention to your Chiron and that you have taken care of this wound and healed it and found its medicine and know what works for that wound as medicine, and then you can, you know, mentor others or help others with that. Okay. There's an idea currently with astrologers that because Chiron is so linked to healing and medicine, that it could potentially become, or it could potentially be, Virgo's new ruler. You know, Virgo is ruled by Mercury and it shares, you know, that ruler with Gemini. But Chiron being all about medicine and Virgo being the sign of the doctor and the healer and all that, perfect match. So if you have Sun, Ascendant, Moon, midheaven, or a strong placement, or maybe a stellium in Virgo, you need to pay special attention to anything when Chiron goes into its retrograde processes, or, you know, what is happening with it right now. Okay, so especially this video. If you have Chiron in the sign of Aries, which is my sign, my generation, okay, you also need to pay special attention because that is the sign that Chiron is in right now. So Chiron is transiting through the sign of Aries, and it's about to go retrograde on July 15th, and it's going to start to do this, right? Retrograde just means it moves, the illusion of the planet or asteroid moving back. And so what happens is we tend to go within with all of these processes that we're discussing right now, the healing process, figuring out what that wound is, identifying it, finding that medicine, okay? So Chiron and Aries, if you have Sun, Moon, Ascendant, or, you know, midheaven or some strong point or planet in Aries, this is going to be important for you as well, or your Chiron in Aries like I do. Okay, so what is this Chiron in Aries energy? Since Chiron is in Aries right now, what is that energy that we're going to be dealing with collectively? Because transits affect everybody collectively, and we'll talk in a minute about where in each house this is going to manifest. Chiron in Aries is the primordial wound of who am I? Us always trying to look for and identify who we are truly. Okay, this is an existential question. This is a spiritual question. It's a divine question. It's a psychological question. It's even a biological question. Okay, and so we have to look at this in multi dimensions because we are multidimensional beings. Chiron in Aries is going to make all of us as a collective dig deeper into two things. One is identity. Who am I? And two, it's image. What is that identity that then I portray and I bring to the world and I show the world and that people can see about me? Okay, we're talking authenticity, we're talking you know, self-expression in everything that we are, especially, you know, our physical appearance, which is ruled by Aries. So that's going to be the energy that we're dealing with as a collective for Chiron in Aries. When this goes, and Chiron in Aries tends to be a very visible one because it is identity and because it is image, okay, including physical part. So what happens is maybe you have a Chiron in Aries, or maybe you know, your this Chiron right now in Aries is activating it's really affecting you strongly, or is activating a strong point in your chart, and you are feeling like, who am I and all this stuff, but everybody else can see who you are and can see this struggle, but you can't. So there's some level of that struggle in which it's obvious to everybody who you are, what your role is, blah, 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 what your title should be, all these different things, but it's not to you, and it hurts. Okay, so Chiron in Aries retrograde as of July 15th, this is going to stay until December, so you have the rest of the year to really work on this, is that whole sense of identity, that whole sense of identity showing up in my image, and really as a retrograde period, feeling a little bit limited and needing to dig deeper to find that identity, to find the answer to those questions of who am I. Now let's go through the houses, okay? And here's the next level too. Not only who am I, but how do I get to become that person that is the next level version of who I am? Okay, because you could be playing it small, and maybe you decide you want to play it big, and there's a gap in between, which, you know, for us coaches, that's exactly what a coach does. A lot of people think coaching is training, not the same thing. A trainer does one thing, a coach does something different. A coach allows you to go from point A. It's actually, the concept for coaching comes from, you know, an actual coach, right? That used to be run by horse and buggy, right? Horse and buggy was a coach, and it brought you from a point where you were to a point where you wanted to be. And that's what a coach does. It takes you to that place, okay? That's what we coaches do. So it's who am I? And then who do I want to become? And what are the obstacles to get there? Or what do I need to do in order to get there? If you were born with a Chiron that's retrograde, and when Chiron is retrograde and it's affecting you particularly strongly, you're going to feel a little bit of a restriction with regards to what that is, with regards to that process actually coming to fruition, with you identifying those things. What are those actions I need to take? What's the mindset shifts I need to do in order for me to become that? So it is being and becoming, okay? And other people or environment maybe restricting that for you as well. Okay, so all of this comes into play with Chiron and Aries. Let's take a look at how this plays out per house, and this is going to apply. Look at your chart right now and see where you have Aries, and I have a video in this channel to help you identify where things fall in your chart if you're not familiar with astrology very much. Okay, so I'll link that down below in the description. Where do I have Aries, and where does Chiron fall in my chart? Which house does it fall in? That's what we're going to talk about right now, the current transit, as well as, and this information is going to apply as well as to, I look at my chart and what is my natal Chiron? Do I have Chiron in Taurus, and maybe that falls in the 7th house? Oh, okay, so let me listen to what she says about the 7th house, Chiron in the 7th house. So take a look at both, okay? The Chiron in Aries, where does it fall in your chart? And Chiron in your birth chart, where does it fall in your birth chart, which house? Okay, so we're going to go through every single one of the houses. Let me know if I forget one. It's happened before. Chiron in the 1st house. Okay, this is very similar to having Chiron in Aries. We're talking about that primordial wound of who am I? That whole thing of everybody sees this missing identity that I have, or that wound of that hole of I don't really know where I belong, or that inability perceived, okay, or habitual, to really focus on me to the point that I really know who I am and understand who I am, and nobody can tell me who I am because I just know, all right? And so I'm not able to do that, to put in the time, to put in the effort, to really go there. Maybe my mindset is like, no, you need to focus on others more than you need to focus on yourself, because focusing on yourself is selfish and egocentric, and it's bad. Okay, but we have those. We have those wounds as a collective, and some of us have them more than others because we bring them from other lives, and also because of our upbringing. Okay, so if we have this wound, if you have Chiron in the 1st house, you're dealing with these things heavily right now, because Chiron in Aries is like having Chiron in the 1st house, so there's heavy energy of that right now. If this is falling in your 1st house, then it's going to be a double whammy of that energy of who am I? Who is going to tell me who I am? Is it going to be me? Well, for the next 6 months, it is going to be you, and it has to be you, and you have to dig deep as to who that is. You can use tools like astrology. Astrology is a fantastic self-development, self-assessment tool. just like Myers-Briggs or the Enneagram or Human Design or Gallup Strength Test or things like that. You know, coaches, we use many different tools. I love astrology because it's a combination of the scientific with the divine, and it tells you so many different things for so many different areas of your life, and it allows you to see cycles in your life and therefore transformations. And what I hope to do as a coach, and what I always do with my clients, is take them through a transformation. So you got to look at what is the sense of identity that I can actually dig deep into, and who I am and where I want to go, who I want to become, and also that image, does that represent that which I want to be and become? Chiron in the first house. Chiron in the second house is a little more rather than being, is about having. Okay, this is the house naturally ruled in the zodiac by Taurus, and in this house we're looking at my self-worth, also linked to my net worth. Okay, so in this house we're talking about, do the things that I have really represent who I am? Are the things that I have mine, or are they in danger of being taken away from me? And that feeling of safety and security through things, through the having. Am I manifesting, expressing, and commanding the right energy for my self-worth? If I feel like I am undervalued, it's because I am undervaluing myself and not expressing my own self-worth. Therefore, I need to raise my value, not just the way that I see it, but the way that I express it to the world. Okay, so this is having to do with the have and with the self-worth, and with that wound of like, I am, you know, not really putting forth the energy of everything that I feel valued for. Okay, could be a money wound as well. You may want to take a look at money wounds and limiting beliefs that have to do with things, you know, the thoughts that don't allow me to create the money. Like, money doesn't grow on trees. Yes, it does, because it's paper. You know, money is an evil thing. You know, only the meek will inherit the earth and whatever, all this, or the kingdom, right? No. If you have more money, you have a higher, a bigger pocket to be able to be generous and help other people with whatever they may need. Okay, limiting beliefs like that, you can really dig deep into and find those things through this 6-month period when Chiron will be retrograde, if this falls in your second house. Okay, the have. Chiron in the third house, we're talking about Gemini energy, and this is the third house rules connection with other people. Okay, so where is there a wound that might limit me from really establishing a true connection with friends or colleagues, or you know, a network that will support me? It also rules my relationships with my brothers and sisters, and therefore if there's some sort of rift there, if you have grown apart, if there's a trauma, there's an issue, there's some conflict there, you have the opportunity to really dig deep and see what your part is in it, you know, how you can better heal that and relate and all this stuff. Okay, Chiron in the third house, because it's connection, because it's Mercury, the way that we connect is typically through communication. So you're going to be able to explore this wound of like, am I really saying what I want to say? Am I saying what I'm thinking and feeling? Am I able to fully express who I am? Am I fully able to express what I think and what I feel to other people? Or is there some limit in my self-expression, in the way that I communicate, in what I think I can or can't say, in the way that I say it as well? Okay, so explore all of those themes. There may be a wound there. Maybe as a child you weren't able to self-express, or your self-expression was limited, and you need to break free from that. Now, this is the time for you to do that if Chiron is in your third house, natal or transit. Okay, Chiron in the fourth house. Now this is a bit of a more emotional house. Actually, this is the ultimate emotional house. This is the Cancer house. Okay, so here we have issues that come from childhood. We know that almost all of our, well, the majority of our big wounding comes from childhood. Okay, this doesn't mean that we don't experience trauma throughout our lives. We do, and actually most people have more trauma experiences than they actually realize, and that they are going to need to heal, which is Chiron is perfect for this. Okay, so if you pay more attention to this energy, you're going to be able to free up a ton of energy that is held in tension and is held in some sort of space in your not just your aura, but typically physically in your fascia, in your body. And it's going to allow you to actually do so much more if you free this energy. So pay close attention to this. The fourth house, if you have Chiron in the fourth house, you have some childhood experiences or beliefs that maybe you're driving some behaviors now as an adult and that are making you suffer, that are hurting you. So you need to take a look. Maybe it's was your relationship with your mom. Maybe it was your relationship with your dad. This is more mom in the fourth house, but really it's parenting. Whoever was that parent that really took care of you. Maybe it's your grandparents, right? Or some sort of other significant upbringing figure in your life. You have this wound and it doesn't allow you to feel like you deserve love or caretaking or protection. That's more along the lines of what you can find in the fourth house. And you need to heal it by becoming that parent yourself. Parent your own self as an adult, whatever you didn't get, whatever need was not fulfilled when you were a child, those wounds that are generated from that are going to be what you have activated. And now is the time for you to go in there and heal that. Turn it around by being that parent that you didn't have and that you needed, and that you can be for yourself nowadays, okay? Chiron in the fifth house. Chiron in the fifth house, we're talking about the energy of Leo, and the energy of the fifth house is always having to do with creativity. And the ultimate creation is children, right? The ultimate creation for a human being is actually be able to create another human being. Therefore, this is a house that rules children, and it's a house that rules creativity. So some of the wounds that you may deal with if Chiron is natally in your fifth house or transiting through your fifth house right now is, hey, was I able to have children in this lifetime? Did I want to have children and maybe didn't have a chance to, didn't find the right partner, wasn't able to physically or biologically able to do it? There was something there that didn't allow you to interact with that energy of children, okay? The other side of this is, was there something that was limiting my creativity? Is there something now that is not allowing me to express my creative self? We are all creative people. A lot of us think that if we're not artistic, if we don't sing karaoke, if we're not great artists, we didn't paint something, that if we're not good at writing, that we're not creative. This is absolutely not true. This is a very limited view of creativity. Creativity is way more vast. Like I said, creating a child, look at that. The ultimate creation for the human being, right? Being able to raise that child, having an open mind to see things in a different way, being able to solve problems, doing business in an innovative way. All of this is creativity. So please take a look at yourself and tap into those wells of creativity that may have been restricted or may have been limited for you. Now you have the chance to take a look at that and really dig deep and heal that wound and bring your creative self out to others. If the issue for you has to do with children, didn't have children, couldn't have children, all this stuff, where can you put that energy into without having your own children? For example, I don't have children, but I have two beautiful godchildren that, as a parent, it takes a village. You know this if you are a parent, right? And I'm part of that village for two sets of parents. And it brings great, great joy, which is another thing that the fifth house rules, into my life. Okay, both of these children do. So find a way. There's always a way, and there's a reason why this was set up this way for you. Find a way to express that creativity, to connect with children, and to connect with the joy of the fifth house. Chiron in the sixth house. This is the wound of, could be one, health. Okay, this is the house that rules your health. So maybe there's some sort of ailment, condition that you live with that doesn't allow you or didn't allow you when you were a child or something to do what it was that you needed to do. Maybe you have over-identified with that illness, and now is the time to dig deep and see if you can create a different identity, Chiron in Aries, with relation to that illness. Now, it's health as well in the sense of order. You know that another name for an illness is a disorder. This is very interesting because Virgo, which is the house that rules the sixth house, rules health and it rules organization, and it rules order, and it's an analytical house, and it's an earth, very grounded structural house. And so it is asking, where am I out of order in my life? We know that manifesting some sort of illness is an out of order condition. It's therefore they call it a disorder, right? You ate too much, you didn't eat enough, you drank too much, you didn't sleep enough, you didn't exercise enough, you over-exercised and you hurt yourself. There's so many different ways that this could go. You have to tune in, and this is your chance right now with Chiron in Aries in the 6th house, to tune into what that health is trying to tell you, what that wound is trying to bring out that you're not seeing, that might be out of order, okay? It also is the house of employees and employers. What's my relationship to my employer? If I have one, what's my relationship to my employees? If I have that, is there any wound that needs to be healing, any trauma that needs to heal with regards to that those people or that concept within me? As well as service. This is service to society is what the 6th house rules. And so where am I really activating this part of myself in which I feel like my role in society is allowing me to serve other people in that society, or not? Or is it limited? Okay. Also rules routines. So seeing where you feel like you can't really, get traction in that routine that you're trying to set up, and what you can do to really get going in that regard. Okay. Chiron in the 7th house, we're talking the house of relationships, formal relationships, relationships one-on-one, established relationships. This is usually the house that rules, if you're married, this is the house that rules that kind of partnership. If you have a partner in business, this is the house that rules that as well. You need to really see where if your wounds that you have come out during relationships. So you may have some wounds that come out when you get into a relationship, and then you get out of a relationship because of that wound, but it's really your own, and you need to learn to heal it. Could be abandonment, could be not enough, lack of self-worth, it could be many of those things, okay? And so you need to really work on that so that you have the ability to relate in the most optimal way. Maybe it is a wound that is the concept itself of you in relationship. Oh, I'm just not good at relationships. Oh, I'm that person that just gives, and nobody else, really gives to my level. Therefore, I shouldn't be in a relationship because it's just going to drain me. I mean, all of these, what I call impartial content, or these limiting beliefs, or keep bumping into these limiting beliefs that don't allow you to have a healthy relationship. That's where you're going to find in Chiron in the 7th house. Okay. So this is a great chance for you the next 6 months for you to really look at what is your relationship to relationship. All of these ideas, I highly recommend you taking a notebook, opening it up and putting kind of maybe a title in one page and a title on another page, and being like, me in relationships, me with respect to whatever relationship you want to explore, me with respect to, men or women, me with respect to, my partner at work, and all these kinds of things, and write everything that comes to mind, and see if there's anything that is limiting you and that is very obvious and it's counterproductive, and you're going to see exactly why things are not working in that area of your life. Okay. Chiron in the 8th house. This is one of those a little more intense. I'm not going to say hard. I'm going to say a little more, intense is the word for it, right? This is a house ruled by Scorpio, and any healing that you're going to have in this house is going to be deeply felt. It's also going to be deeply transformational, and it's also going to allow you to help other people to have deep transformations as well. Remember, all this whole thing with Chiron is, how do I do it myself so that then I can help other people? First me, right? Oxygen mask, and then the other person that I can help with all this information, this experience, these tools that I've gained, this medicine. So you have Chiron in the 8th dealing with things such as death, that concept of death. It's one of the primordial fears that we have, right? The fear of death, the fear of aging, the fear of failure, these are some of the main ones. Fear of death is one of them. This is the house that rules death. So therefore, how you deal with what your concept is of this, and maybe a wound that came from childhood, maybe a grandparent died, maybe you had a parent who died, and how does that affect your life, and how do these concepts that you either healed or didn't heal drive your behavior and your life and where you're heading and where you're going, and your ability to really bring forth what you came to bring forth into this world. The other thing is sex. This is the house that rules sex. Did I have some sort of, traumatic situation was when I was a child that then, doesn't allow me to have intimacy in relationships? Is there a way that I can heal some of these wounds that I have that are maybe just concepts that my parents or society or my religion instilled in me that don't allow me to enjoy a sexual relationship or a relationship with my partner or whatever it might be, the situation in which intimacy is involved. It also has to do with deep, profound change. Okay, that's why I say transformation. This is not the rapid change of the Aquarian house or the anything with the planet Taurus. This is the profound transformation. This is the phoenix rising. So do I have a deep understanding or a wound with, or a limit with, or a restriction with my ability to shift from one state of being to another, shift from one job to another, shift from one way of seeing things to another? Okay, all of these deep transformations, all of this, sex, which is a very heavy opportunity for transformation, okay, and a very heavy topic in our society because religion has made it such a taboo topic, and it's such an intimate, private, beautiful, deeply spiritual topic that just now in generations we're actually even allowed to talk about, or allowing ourselves to talk about. So it's deeply rooted in some things that limit us, or in some things that make us really be very in touch with who we are, or really allow us to be feel free. So explore this concept deeply. If you have Chiron in the 8th, your idea of sex and your relationship to sex, and also to death. Okay, these are I say heavy because these are very deep concepts back to survival. Okay, because obviously we don't survive as a species if people are not having sex and they're having children, right? We die off, and death obviously related to survival. So these are heavy things. What happens when you heal the wounds from Chiron in the 8th house is that you have a tremendous ability to help other people transform. A lot of the people who have this placement natally, they then become the therapists, the healers, the psychologists that help other people through tremendous life change, okay? Through tremendous healings. Chiron in the 9th house. 9th house, besides foreign travel and culture and all this stuff, it really rules beliefs, it rules your philosophy of life. It rules ethics and morals that you adhere to. So a primordial wound in this area, or your natal chart, or Chiron transiting through this house for you, is going to ask you, is going to help you question some of the beliefs you have in your life, some of the philosophy in general of life that you have, and is this really helping you get to where you want to get to? Are you able to live out this philosophy? Are you able to have that adventure of life that you really want to? Are you able to express that philosophy to other people and give your opinion on these kinds of things? Or are you feeling restricted and not able to do that? Okay, it's really important that you dig deep and you see, okay, these are the rules that I live my life by. These are the beliefs that I have, this is my code of ethics that I live by. If you don't have one, explore it during these 6 months, because it can be life-changing for a person to really understand what are those things that you're willing to do, not willing to do, what, goes back to values, which is 2nd house, and what am I basing my behaviors on in order to act, right? What's really important for me, what are the limits that I have, what are my boundaries? All of this, 9th house. 10th house is the house of career and social persona. So a wound, Chiron in the 10th house, a wound might manifest in like, have I really found the career that's right for me? Am I able to find the career that's right for me? Or am I changing from one thing to another? Or am I in a career rut? I don't really feel like I am in a career where I feel like this is the one, and this is where I excel, and this is the one that's going to put me on the map socially, and this is the one that's going to bring me the abundance that it's going to bring me, all of that. Okay, did I have some sort of trauma at some point in my life with some sort of employer, authority figure, my dad, or something that then limited my expression of who I was and the ability for me to bring forth my gifts and my potential, so that I can, because what is career? Is you bringing forth your gifts, your potential, and everything that you wanted to do, and getting paid for it, right? Bringing that to society and getting paid for it. Okay, so all of that goes into Chiron in the 10th house. Was there something limiting there? Is there a wound? Is there a trauma that I need to heal with respect to that? Maybe it was even like I saw my parents, you know, one of them had a tremendous career but was absent, and therefore I'm going to limit my own self subconsciously, right? We don't think about this consciously. I'm going to limit my own self in that, you know, I'm going to play small, so don't play big, because if I play big, I'm going to be so successful that then my children are going to feel abandoned, or my partner's going to feel abandoned, like I did when I was little, because my dad was so successful or my mom was so successful. So those are the kind of things you need to explore, as well as, am I in the right career? Am I really putting forth all the skills, the talents, the potential, and everything that I have, and playing big with showing who I am in the world? Okay, Chiron in the 11th house, which is the house of naturally ruled by Aquarius. We're talking about any wound that has to do with your relationship to groups, community, your role within a community, within a group. Am I able to team play? Do I have some sort of wound or trauma or concept that I need to heal that doesn't allow me to understand, one, what my role is within a group or a team, and two, not lose myself in that group or team, really know who I am. This is very Aquarian, okay? Coming from an Aquarius, I'll tell you. If I belong to a group, if I find that tribe, okay, finding the tribe is essential. And if you have that wound of I haven't found my tribe, this is a very Chiron in the 11th house deal. When I do, can I still be myself within it? Can I still have an independent existence without, you know, and also belong within that community and that tribe and that group, those friendships, okay, that world? Once you have handled that, once you have the medicine for that, then it's about how can I help that group progress? Because this is an Aquarian house, and being an Aquarian house, it's a house that's really going to be focused on the future. It's humanitarian, it's innovative. So it's like, I'm here and I belong and I know who I am within, so I know who I am without. Now, what can I do to get this whole group, or how can I get this group to help the world to move to the next level? Okay, innovate, progress, next level version, etc. Okay, Chiron in the 12th house. Chiron in the 12th house, we're talking about the house that rules now spirituality, but it's really a house that began by ruling the collective unconscious and the dream world. Okay, anything that has to do with dreams. This is going to be an enhanced period. If you have Chiron in the 12th house, the next 6 months are going to be an enhanced period for you to be able to hone in on what your dream world, your subconscious, collective unconscious mind is trying to tell you. So you can identify the wounds through that. I highly recommend always getting a really good dream dictionary or symbol dictionary that will allow you to interpret the dreams. I do this with my clients all the time. You know, we try to see exactly, or we actually identify what the dreams are trying to tell you, so that you can then see if you've worked out something in your dream world that you wanted. Maybe it could have been a dangerous situation for you to work out in the real world, okay? So you worked it out then. Or if there's some sort of channeling coming through, or if there's some sort of message coming through that's telling you that question you had before you went to sleep, that whole thing you dealt with yesterday, here's the answer to it. Because most of the answers, if not all, are within us already, okay? We have access to all that stuff through dreams, usually through meditation, through some sort of theta state, journaling, coaching. The coaches help you get that information out. You have access to that. And if you have Chiron in the 12th, transiting right now in the next, July through December, it's going to be super important for you to be able to get these messages from the dream world. Natally, and actually as a wound itself, it could also be like, what is my spiritual practice? How am I connected on a spiritual level? Who am I really as a spirit living in a human experience? It has to do with everything that has to do with spirituality. It has to do with service to the masses, but on a just world level. What is my, what am I here, my what do you call this? My legacy. What am I here to leave behind for others to get help with, or learn from, or understand themselves better from? different to the what service am I bringing to my immediate society, which is the Virgo, the 6th house question. This is, what am I bringing to the world? Okay, it's a very core spiritual mass level question. And so this wound of what is my place within the world, what is who am I on a spiritual level, what are the spiritual practices that work for me, you know, what is my true dream that I came to realize, that I want to really, am I in touch with that dream that I want to make a reality in this world and in this lifetime? All of that is 12th house. You can also have the wound of self-sabotaging, and so be very, very careful and pay very much attention to how this is manifesting in the next 6 months. If there's going to be some sort of self-sabotaging, great, bring it out, analyze it, see it. Where am I sabotaging? Where have I sabotaged this way before? How am I doing this? Why am I doing this? Is this hiding a fear? What fear is it? How can I face it, and how can I shift it? What is it doing for me that I'm not seeing? What's the gain here? So if I identify the gain, and then I can actually deal with it, right? Then it can be, oh, okay, it's gaining me, you know, let's see, the wound of, I'm not, I don't know, I want to do a YouTube channel and I'm not putting out my YouTube channel because, you know, even though I know it's going to make me money, or it's going to do something good for my business, or it's going to bring me a lot of fulfillment in being able to bring out that information into the world, and I feel that this is my mission, you know, the bigger gain is that I will maintain my privacy and nobody will criticize me like my mom did when I was little, or nobody will, you know, see me, and then I won't be in danger because I need protection because I had childhood wounding from that. All of these kinds of things, okay? This is, you know, this is stuff that we deal with in general, and no matter where your Chiron is. But really, in Chiron in the 12th, you have a deeper access to all of these. Sometimes what I would identify as collective wounds, the wounds that we share. For example, a wound like, I am not enough. How many times have we talked about and identified that wound? Oh, I'm not enough, not good enough for this, not good enough for the career, not good enough for the relationship, not good enough for the fame, not good enough for the level of money or success, not good enough, not good enough, not good enough. It's such a primordial, like, there's so many things that you can label as, this is the fear, this is the wound. You go back and deeper and deeper and deeper, and you'll be at the not enough, not good enough wound, okay? So dig deep with this placement of Chiron in the 12th. You could be tapping into these collective wounds that we have, and therefore you have the opportunity to help heal them for all of us. Because the less of us that have these collective wounds, these fundamental wounds, then the less critical mass there is, and then the planet energy as a whole is going to shift, and we'll be able to, for lack of a better way of putting it, move on to bigger and better questions, woundings, fears, or things like that, okay? So this is a big role to play in the world today. Hopefully that was a little bit of information that was not too complicated. If you have any questions about Chiron in this house, or Chiron in this sign, you can always ask me here in the comments. I'm always checking to answer questions. If you have suggestions for other videos of things in particular that you'd like to see in this channel, you know, it's astrology, it's coaching, you can put it in the comments and I will do my best to make a video about it, okay? You can always send me an email at maril@marilsalispaz.com if you want to actually look at all this stuff in your chart in particular and see how everything plays out. It's a super enlightening tool, especially right now with Chiron in Aries. For the next 6 months, this is going to be digging deep into who am I, right? As a collective, astrology is a fantastic tool for that. So send me an email if you want to explore that. And if I don't see you until the next video, please find me on Instagram because I'm there also much more often. And many, many blessings to you. All the best energy of abundance, of health, of optimal health, of well-being, of healthy and loving relationships for you. And I'll see you in the next video.